Regarding the coronavirus, regarding the vaccine, uh, again, if you have not watched the 90-minute webinar that I did on the vaccine, you can go back and watch that. It's really chock full of information. Many people have called me, even recently, who were skeptical, did watch the webinar and were grateful. They made the decision to get the vaccination. You know, let me tell you a couple of quick short stories, which is just yesterday, as a matter of fact, I was speaking to a young gentleman who reached out to me for care. He's young, he's 30 years old. And he informed me that his dad, who is 57 years old and a very healthy guy, exercises, eats right, he passed from COVID. He passed from COVID a year ago, April, so when it was first kind of hitting. He and his dad and another partner are in business together. They are actually in the restaurant supply business. So you can imagine how they're affected that also, but it's been a devastating year for him. You know, so I know that a lot of people who have not been personally affected by it may poo-poo this a little bit, but, you know, people who have been directly impacted has really changed their lives dramatically. That being said, you know, it's interesting that I personally have been trying to get vaccinated and have had my difficulties in getting vaccinated. I'm supposed to get together with some college friends in about a few weeks from now, about 8 of us. They all have had the full vaccinations done, so they're happy. We're getting together because back in November, we lost a very close and dear personal friend of ours to liver cancer. And we really have not had the time to get together as a group, you know, and just kind of share that experience. So I've been looking forward to it, right? But I'm not vaccinated just yet. And it's been kind of a struggle and it's been frustrating. But the interesting thing is, I actually tell you a kind of a story, is that last Saturday, I actually got I've been on like so many different sites, but I actually was able to get an appointment at Holy Name Hospital last Saturday at 1 o'clock. And so I was excited and I went down. And I was so shocked when I got there. There were police everywhere. And I had to park about a half a mile away. There must have been 500 cars lined up on both sides of the street. So I walked a half a mile and I get onto this long line. I wait about 40 minutes. And then it comes to our attention. We're informed that anybody who is receiving their first vaccination, they're only dispensing the Johnson & Johnson vaccination. They're reserving the Pfizer vaccination for the second-time vaxxers. So, of course, I was pretty upset by that. My intention was to get either the Pfizer or the Moderna and not the Johnson & Johnson. So I declined and I said I would reschedule. So I am rescheduled for this Saturday at 1 o'clock again. And we'll see what kind of a circus is going on down there this Saturday. But hopefully things will work out and I'll be able to get my first vaccination. The difference between the two vaccinations, we'll touch on a little bit. I go into more detail in the previous webinar that I did. But the Moderna and the Pfizer vaccinations, which we all know, we've heard of the messenger RNA driven virus vaccinations. Now, what is that? So this is new technology, but it really isn't new technology. People have been nervous about that. They think it's been rushed to the market and they don't know what it's all about. And is it safe? And am I going to be a guinea pig? And the answer is no. The technology has really been around for well over a decade. All right. What it is the delivery system, meaning, so the messenger RNA is the instruction sheet. Right, that's like buying a piece of IKEA furniture and you got to assemble it, but you need the instruction sheet to know how to put the pieces together, right? So without the instruction sheet, you don't know how to actually assemble the furniture that you bought. So it's the same thing with your body making antibodies, which are proteins. So in your cells, your DNA is manufactures proteins, but it needs an instruction. And so the RNA, or the messenger RNA, is the instruction given to the DNA to manufacture the proteins. So in the case of this particular vaccination, the messenger RNA is carrying the instructions for your DNA to manufacture the spike proteins that the virus carries. So the spike protein is not the virus. The spike protein, as you see it in the pictures, are those spikes that stick out from the virus itself. That is what the virus uses to lock onto your cell's receptors so the virus can enter inside your cells. So the spike protein is not actually the virus. Okay, it's its attachment point. And so this vaccination is specific to that spike protein. The principle, the theory behind it is that if we can create an immune response against that protein, then we can inhibit or block the virus from getting inside your cell. That's what it's about, right? So the messenger RNA gives the instruction to the DNA. The messenger RNA does not go into your DNA and genetically mutate your DNA. We have messenger RNAs. They only last a few seconds, and then enzymes literally gobble up and destroy it. So they're not getting in and doing any genetic manipulation to your DNA. It's just an instruction code. So what happens is your DNA starts to manufacture these proteins, literally these spike proteins. And when enough of them are assembled, they begin to stick out on the surface of your cell. Now, your immune system begins to see those, and it looks different. They haven't seen it before. So your immune system rallies, and it begins to activate what are called immune B cells. And what they do, B cells, is they manufacture antibodies. So what your immune system is doing is it's producing an immune marker called an antibody specific to that protein. Okay, that is the intention of the vaccination. When enough of those antibodies are manufactured, you have, to some degree, some built-in immunity.